Aidan Miller joins us from Clearwater on the eve of spring training. How's it feel to get finally back out there?
Yeah, it feels great. The off season felt like it was too long, and I'm glad to be back out there training and getting a feel for things again. So
I haven't talked to you since the last game here, and then you went to Reading at the end of the season there. What was that like?
that was cool. It was cool seeing a lot of familiar faces that I saw in spring training. Obviously my buddy Robert Moore, he was there. We grew up together, so yeah, a lot of familiar faces, and it's a completely different ballpark and city,
Yeah.
and it was just cool. Getting my feet wet there and getting to experience it.
So you might have had a suspicion that it was going to come, but you get your first invite to big league spring training. I know you're obviously down there anyway, but been training and getting ready. Uh, when that officially starts, I guess next week, what is that going to be like for you? What are you looking forward to most?
It's gonna be cool. I'm really just excited to soak up as much as I can, learn as much as I can from all the veteran guys, and just get that experience. This will be my first big league spring training of hopefully many. And yeah, I really just want to learn as much as I can and just be a part of the clubhouse. And yeah, I can't wait.
Who's been down there that you've had any interaction with or whatever so far?
I met JT last week, but Nola's been down there training. Marshawn's been down there training. So there's a lot of guys that with the big league staff and big league team are training down there right now, and they have been for a while. So yeah, I've got to see guys like JT work, and it's pretty cool. He's in there every single day, and it just shows. He's played for so long and has such a good career. It's really cool to see the work that he puts in off the field.
Once the season ended, take some time to breathe and relax a little bit. When did you start to kind of build back up again?
Yeah, I didn't take much time off. I maybe a week or two, but like right when I got home, I started lifting again and just really got back after it. That's just kind of like the stuff I do. I love the work that comes with it, and that's like one of my favorite parts about it. So yeah, it was pretty instant. I got back, started training, started hitting about 1 to 2 weeks after, and I went a couple of vacations. I went to Utah for a little bit, went up to Georgia in the mountains for a little bit. So that was kind of my time off in between, but it was really right away I started back.
Did you go to? Did I see on your Instagram you went to Lambeau?
I
I know you're
last year. That was
okay.
last year.
Gotcha. I know you're a big Packer fan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the Eagles kicked our ass this year, so that was tough. But the Eagles are my second team, so I
there
was
you go.
glad to see them win it.
Hey, the Packers they got a young team, good quarterback. They'll be in there.
Hopefully.
How'd you end up a Packer fan?
So there's no correlation to Green Bay whatsoever. My brother loved Rodgers growing up, and just being the younger brother, I wanted to like the things my big brother liked, so just kind of followed in his footsteps.
That's cool. That's good. How long have you been going over to the facility now?
So we had a camp from early November through December, and then we had about 2 weeks off, and then I think January 6th was our first day back, and I've been there ever since.
Oh, so you've been basically every day for a while now.
Yeah, we get weekends off, but yeah, it's 5 days a week. It started off light. We were just going in there and lifting, doing some light hitting, and now it's pretty much full go. We're doing base running, hitting on the field, doing some live BPs, still lifting ground balls. So it kind of feels like spring training right now.
So you'll be playing in spring training games. They start, I think, next week. They start obscenely early, but
Yeah.
they start next week. The actual season, starts obviously the beginning of April. At what point do you feel mentally that, hey, I'm ready to go based on what happened last year, like, or how you planned out this spring? Because at some point you're going to be playing in big league spring training games wearing the Phillies uniform or whatever. You obviously you want to put your best foot forward, but at the same time it's a long season that we got coming up.
Yeah, for sure. Just basing it off last year, I think I was ready about 2 or 3 weeks before the season started. I think for hitters, it's all about timing. Once you get that timing down, you're ready to go. And I think that takes a couple of weeks to get used to, and seeing live pitching again, because you can hit in the batting cage all you want all year round, but once you get out there on the field, you're wearing cleats, pants, and facing a live pitcher is totally different. So, just getting used to that setting, being in a game setting again. I think it'll take a couple of days, and I'm lucky that the season or spring training starts a little earlier on the major league side, so I'll have a little more games under my belt before the season starts.
Yeah, next week is it's crazy to think that there'll be actual a baseball game you can watch on a TV or computer or whatever on
Yeah, I
February
think
23rd. I don't
20,
know
yeah,
the
22nd's the first game. We're in Lakeland, so
That's crazy. That's crazy.
yeah.
You had a pretty whirlwind year in 2024. Clearwater to here, futures game, end up in Reading. Looking back at it, did you get a chance to kind of like process it all and say, "Hey, this it was obviously a lot of fun, but I made a lot of great strides as a player here in your what was your first full season?"
Yeah, for sure. And I think, during the season, you get caught up in just how fast the days go by and how long this season is. You don't really have time to really think about, what's going on or the strides that you've made in the season. And I was talking to Adam Everett, who's our infield coordinator, and
Hmm.
I was just telling him, like, I feel like I've come a long way since I first signed here. And, when you put it in that perspective, that's what the development's all about. So, yeah, it was a fun year. Traveled to a lot of new places, had a ton of teammates, new teammates, met a lot of awesome people, and yeah, it was really cool. I think I really had time to settle down and really think about the year I had. Just right when I got home, when I started getting comfortable back in my own house, and yeah, I was really glad it worked out the way it did.
How do you think you got better as a player from call it April 1st to September 1st?
I would say the biggest thing was the consistency. So I started out pretty hot down in Clearwater, and then that initial jump to Jersey, I struggled a little bit for about a month or so, and then started to find my stride again late September, early August. So
Late
um,
July, early August, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was just getting used to dealing with failure and dealing with everyday grind. I think I was getting a little tired too in the middle of the season. I haven't played that many games in my life, so yeah, I think it was a lot of things, just a natural baseball slump too. And, I'm glad it happened in my first full season so
Hmm.
that the next time it comes around, slumps are going to happen. I'll know how to get out of it this time.
Did I never asked you this, but I always wondered, because you really picked it up right after the trade deadline. And I thought maybe, in the back of your head, it's hard not to think about it going in, no matter what you say, no matter what you try to avoid. And then after it happened, you can kind of like take a step back and say, all right, hey, I'm a Philly. Let's go get it. Is there some truth to that?
I mean, a little bit, I didn't think about it too much. My roommate, George Klassen, he unfortunately got shipped off to LA. So we had talks about it in our drives to the ballpark and in our apartment, but I try to not give it too much thought. I can't get caught up in that stuff, and I don't think it's really healthy mentally as a baseball
Yeah,
player getting caught up
but
in
it's hard
that.
to
So
it's hard to avoid.
that's another thing too. When people like fans are talking to you about it, that's another thing too. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely in the back of my mind a little bit, but ultimately, I think when I went home for that All-Star break and had a couple of days off to really relax and ease my mind a little bit, that kind of helped. I think the most just going back out there and just playing, just
Mhm.
realizing that it's just baseball. It's the same game I've played my whole life, and to help ease my mind a little bit.
And you guys had some weird ones because you had not only George, but you also had William Bergoya get traded, an hour before two games, 3 or 4 days apart. So you guys felt it, right there in front of you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, those are two of our guys too. I mean, Bergoya had a great year. George had a great year too. So that was kind of my first time going through it and really, really realizing that baseball is a business and nothing's really guaranteed. So yeah, seeing those two guys get shipped off, kind of put everything in perspective. Like, hey, you never know what can happen, and just go out there every day and just play.
What are your goals for 25?
I think the consistency, keep being consistent. I really want to stay healthy. I feel like I was pretty healthy most of the year. I had a couple,
Mhm.
minor injuries late year, but just be on the field as much as possible, be available, and just learn as much as I can. Take it one day at a time. And, I think last year I had a lot of goals, huge goals set up. And I think realizing that, taking it one day at a time is the way to go for me.
What'd you learn about this whole professional baseball thing from your brother who went through, through a little bit of it a couple of years before you?
Yeah, I learned a lot. I think the biggest thing was, how to keep your body healthy. So he had a lot of unfortunate injuries and a lot of bad luck, not really things that he could control and prevent. So, seeing him go through all the rehab process and not being on the field a lot, really, showed me, I have to put the right foods in my body, get enough sleep, make sure I'm on a good routine every single day. And I really learned all that from him. And he's big in the weight room too, so that's something I really got into, and he kind of showed me the ropes with that. So um, yeah, I think those are the biggest things I've learned from him.
You mentioned Adam Everett before. Who are some of the other coaches that have influenced you in the year, almost 2 years now since you've been in the system?
Man, I feel like everybody in the Phillies organization has done whatever they can to help me out in any way. Some guys I work with the most are Luke Merton, Everett. Bull was great. Bull
Mhm.
and Jersey Shore, especially when I was going through it, we had a lot of talks off the field. Um, and he just really helped me ease my mind. And he was the perfect coach I think I had, for being out there going through struggles. So I was really lucky to have him out there.
Earlier today, I interviewed Luke for this, and it'll be out probably before anybody listens to this one. He's pumped for your season. I know I could tell that for sure. I know you are too, but he was pumped for the season you're gonna have. So
Yeah, Luke's the man. He works hard and he's always trying to get me better and get me to that next step because, we both know where I want to go and, we're never really satisfied and, we want to get there and he's trying to help me get there. So,
and he got a well deserved promotion. Happy for him. Good guy.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
What was your favorite thing you did in the off season away from a baseball field?
Man, I would say going up to Utah. Me and my girlfriend went up there for a week. It was Park City. So I really got to experience like real snow for the first time. I didn't go skiing or sledding, anything
You're
like
probably not
that,
allowed,
but
right? Probably
yeah.
not.
So I went snow tubing. It's a little safer.
Okay.
But we just explored the city, explored the town, and it was really cool. It was good to get away and go on a nice little vacation. I feel like I haven't done many vacations in my life, so that was a really really good time.
You're still doing the baseball card hunting and collecting?
I am, yeah. Troy Struffer got me into that, and it's an addiction that grows pretty quickly. So I'm always hunting for new cards, and I was trying to get our new first rounder Dante Nori his first Bowman card. So I haven't got it yet, but I feel like I can't even pull myself too. I've opened so many boxes, so many packs, and I can never really get a cool one of myself. So
Well,
it's tough.
one thing that I was authorized to say on here is that we're going to get you an Aidan Miller BlueClaws card, which doesn't exist. We're going to do like a special set that'll come out right around the beginning of the season with you in there among others. So we'll send you down a few for sure because when you got promoted up here, it was already second week of June. We had already ordered them for the year, so there is none. But we figured we got to have one, so we're gonna get one.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
What uniform you want? The yellow one?
The yellow one with the sunglasses hat. That was my favorite uni. The
All
cut
right.
off sleeves and
Yeah.
that one was pretty cool.
We had in 22 we got approval from to to wear the cutoff sleeves for they were had special jersey night, but they were cutoffs also. And the players wanted to wear them with no undershirt, but the pitcher didn't want to. I can't say who it was on the air, but yeah, the pitcher didn't want to, so we couldn't do it. But
Yeah, we tried doing that with the yellow ones late in the year,
they got vetoed.
but yeah, enough guys said they didn't want to
Yeah,
do it. So I
yeah,
think
fair
some of the
enough.
tan lines that we have, I mean, even mine are so brutal that some guys just didn't want to do it. So
Yeah,
I don't blame them.
fair enough. Fair enough. Um, you were in Reading for long enough to know that that's a much nicer ballpark for any hitter than the one here, right? I know you got to be excited to get there to get back there.
Yeah, so that's what I've heard. I heard going there that it's a great hitter's park. But when I got there, it was pretty chilly out. So I heard, late in the year, the ball doesn't fly as well. So I noticed when I was taking BP, I'm like, man, this kind of feels like Lakewood. So I'm excited to go out there when it's hot and the ball is actually flying out there and, really experience it.
Could you tell? That was the end of the year, so it's a little different. You weren't there that long, but could you tell um, like a notable difference in quality of stuff that you were facing from opposing pitchers?
Yeah, I mean, I faced Jackson Jobe, one of the Tigers'
Okay, yeah,
top pitching prospects. So, he was an outlier, but I feel like for the most part, the guys are just a little older and the game is just a little cleaner, a little faster. But for the most part, it's all the same. Yeah, I mean, I think the average age there was, 24, 25 years old. So I think that's the biggest difference. You're playing with a lot older guys than in high A. The age varies a lot more. So, but stuff wise on the mound, I found it pretty similar.
Who's a guy that you've seen in camp, from what you've been able to tell? Obviously, you haven't done a ton of baseball work per se, but a guy who's been down there, looks good, playing well so far, that you think might have a big year.
Yeah, I think Otto Kemp. He's kind of been my buddy. We do all of our infield work together and take all of our BPs together. And he's a great dude. He works really hard, and it's kind of somebody I look up to. He's an older guy, and he's had multiple seasons under his belt. And just seeing him go about his business every day on the field, off the field, has been really cool to see. And he raced too, so I think he's gonna have a great year.
What pitcher is a sneaky difficult pitcher to face that you've gotten to see in inter squad?
And I would say Tristan Garnett. He gets me every time. I can't get a barrel off him.
The
It's
changeup,
just
the
the
changeup.
changeup.
Yeah,
That's his pitch. Yeah, his cutter. I don't know if he had it before, but he's got a cutter now. And
they give everybody a cutter.
yeah,
They give him a hat, a jersey, and a cutter. Yeah,
yeah. But he's a big, tall lefty, and his arm slot's so dang high that like it's tough to see, especially early on in live at bats. It almost feels impossible.
those guys could have kind of career changing springs. They get a chance in big league camp. Obviously, have experience at higher levels too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he could be one of those guys. Yeah, he works hard too, and he looks really good. So I'm
Did you
excited to see what he
watch
can do.
the Phillies Met series?
I did. Unfortunately, I did. I was watching the last game. I was driving up somewhere and I had my phone propped up and I was watching it in the car and I think I turned it off right after Lindor hit that grand slam.
Yeah, we were in a couple of us from here were in Charlotte at some MLB function, and we were out to dinner. It was a nice restaurant, and we had it on the phone. As soon as he hit the grand slam, flip the phone down. It's like,
Yeah, we kind of knew at that point it was over. They just got hot. I mean, they had a really good team, but like MLB, just baseball in general, teams who get hot, like it's hard to beat those guys. I mean, it doesn't matter who you have on the mound or hitting. It's and then the Mets for that team. So
the atmospheres that you saw in Philly, and obviously had seen there, in years past. How excited are you? And you see it. You make that a goal to be a part of that someday, right?
oh, for sure, yeah. I went to a game. Sorry, my dog's barking. If you can
No,
hear
you're
that.
good.
I went up to a game in when I was in Reading. Me and my dad drove up to Philly. It was about an hour away from the field, and it was a regular season game, middle of the year, and Buddy Kennedy was hitting, and the whole crowd started chanting Buddy, and you could almost feel your feet shaking, and that was kind of my real first taste of like these fans are different and they really care, and that was really cool to experience. I think I had goosebumps the entire time.
Well, we know you'll be there at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. Thanks for a few minutes. Really appreciate it. And congrats on all your success and best of luck here in 25.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.